是自觉无也教是觉无老马老教是觉无三界老教是觉无觉老教是觉无也等老教是觉无三界觉当造界穷老上求宝德当内教是觉有真作天为所能解罗老板之三界之本说三界之当中界中能老上求宝德当内教是觉大地人作天为所能解罗拉班之三界之本说当知地瓦当地为觉当本知情甚至当知等当等知当掌本知情甚至当知等没别的我当门着本知情甚至当知你让找到你当着为当牛老内我当知的我当地为就当本知情甚至当知等我当等我就当着我知情甚至当知等我没别的我当门着我知情甚至当知你让找到你当着当牛老内我知情三日别解虚相没多真日周能日你的将把的三界上的没得不我意如果能到上了就不说一等个日着那满着了人们要的要
In English, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma,
I take refuge
Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, anointed perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land.
예, 정말로 참 자식들이시요. 내가 아주 다 로마도니 범자인지.
Good morning to you all. Thank you for coming and joining me in this morning's practice and discussion. And let's begin today's discussion, followed by Aryapara mantra recitation and meditation.
Dore dona damje derma soai geje lara do om dare do dare dore so ha om dare do dare dore so ha om dare do dare dore so ha om Dare de dare de re so.
Om
Dare
Dare
de dare de re so. Om dare de dare de re so. Dare de dare de re so. Om dare de dare de re so.
Dare to Dare. Om Dare to Dare to Dare so. Om Dare to Dare to Dare so. Om Dare to Dare to Dare so. Om Dare to Dare to Dare so.
Dare de dare dare zum dare de dare dare zum dare dare zum gewan de de da de roman de watch de sala ko brsho sinjen na pa chen ye pa ne dan na le thar je chin roi na na mali wa to de shwa me brsho manum de dang dam ba sa de jon de brsho khan ro sun bo la yang je sim dang dan je chi ya ta ka zong sun ma mo tin luk min da da
I'm going to continue read the text that we left last time.
da giur shapala ni sambi chapal do ni wa giur shapala de samba chapar chan shangchip ji samla te ni kyang lam de shepa da juro chapar chan sajang ni la te ni kyang shangchip lam de shepa o sabchi ni chi dang da tangbo de la tangbo na chala kang to dang shi song de ti ki won de shi ni Sina Kenji Jurwa Dik Cheng Yil Yirang Yil Rang Yil Lam Mayil Ni Trung Sub Tang Gomba Roma Tang Mandrowa in Salayang Rojang Te Tao Nikab Tamchit Guinaz Lisam Yi Tang Dingal Chinang Chongsum Gong Jongyang Tao Jikten Yi Kam Ta Me Pa Na Samjin Ki Rina Da Tao Dingal Totem Ba Pa Tama Yolus Te Tamchi Ki Dingal Ki Ko Daki Chopper Jirna Te Tamchi Dingal Maliwa Tanglen Ki Goni Yangji Gombi Ton Repate Jones Longnyam de Samba Takwani Gashang Kiwer Shawos Kichang Zomna Zomba Huena Seki Ne Ngan Tong Ne Ngan Tong Shi Ken Giwi Shinin o dan dani jang kita ya o Kinzom
Yeah.
Dina
Yes. That's all. Yeah. That's all. Okay. Please go to your copy translation page 82. Taking adverse circumstances into the part by relying on the special thought of the awakening mind. The text says, apply meditation immediately at every opportunity. We should take lightly every mental or physical difficulties that befalls us. Moderate or slight. Whatever the circumstances, in happy time or hard times, whether we are at home or in a foreign country, in a village or a monastery, in the company of human friends, we should think of the many kinds of sentient beings in the boundless universe afflicted with similar troubles, and make prayers that our own sufferings may serve as the substitute for theirs, and that they may be parted from all misery. Considering how wonderful it is to have fulfilled the purpose of our practice of compassion by taking on the suffering of others, we should sincerely rejoice. When we rejoice happiness and prosperity and suffering, no lack of food, clothing, dwelling, friends, or spiritual masters, but possess these external conditions in abundance and no suffering, no internal problems such as sudden discomfort caused by mental or physical sickness. We are able to put our faith and so on into practice.
我咋总吧？
谢谢你的来源。
上10几个，我们有时做呢，甚至带了带呢，我们讲完说我们300个呢，就要不是你知道的吧？3路当个工呢，当不3路当个。我呢把sem你话带了带就话的带老人都打不起，小娃几我说，那跟着是3当过来的，那这当俺们说你真的看的了，你我说，啥家看着是从那这个中当中吃，没看着是中外呢，他带了天边呢，天边见这个有，他们天边见这个有，这刚开始呢，这当俺们说了的，啥几年了，你碰不的人说啥，这可让人你等于让人见这个吧，对的呢。고 파쇼텔라 이 코로나도 차도로 대자다 아니 쩐들 장은들 남들 랑탕 간다들이나 베이 촌바전에 베촌지는 아주도 파쇼니 미 콘도소 쇼지가 아주라 콘도티 왕거 그런 거 콘도티 거 마조베 왕거니 리기 남겼당 다 층아 바들 나와이나 다 알아도 지마 저땅 미 될라 냠는 지가 면지나 다 콘도는 거라 고 가르치는 갈때 지고 요 임치 요 말 고 콘도는 거 근데 컨트롤랑한테 그런 직당지나 돈 젠다 망고지기 요래 된지기 전에 컨트롤 셈 맞게 와요. 뛰는 거다 남들로 등하고 강 때문에 알아서 뛰람성 셈나가 마가요 거래. 건전에 좀부터 완로 좀 알아서 소소 컨트롤 가르치는지 컨트롤랑 소소 파쇼치는 요라랑 거. 대자당 알아서 파쇼 때라 삼노당 신이지 냠는라 저장나 답피트 파쇼 때오 때 컨트롤랑 지정으로 양지 코페 컨트롤 미들랑 차정자샤 콘트롤 장한테 일찬다 다 콘트롤지로 그런 리그 남짓당 뭐 졸라테나 하고 진짜다 양마지 선네 양지 검정이나 나로 셈나 코로나 나로 셈 양지 콘트롤랑한테 양지 시키나니 프라카로 그러 가서나 되는 나로 파쇼텔라 솔로지니 지가르는 지구군데 조금 간다 지구군데 콜라 가르치군데 뜻이 당당 나로 좀이니 차정하네 디 강들 jet고 진짜다 삼 조르즈네 삼바 형지기 끝내랑네 아니 조르와도 가르som나 코랑 때리지네 서로 늦자샤군라 파봉다시네 가땅나 코랑 기 밑에 코랑징 같이나 티당나 바텀지도 콘트롤고 셔던 왕도제도 말고 콘트롤도 로로인데 콘트롤도 코랑 르베 잠소나 르베 밑이 지치 땅요 밑이 형지 끝내라 형지 공바이나 형지 티 니와라 때니 소소 파쇼티기 릉게 셈그 셔던데 시송이나 르베 아니 밑이 소소소소 시디 착소나 미테랑징게 용고 냥지게 랑지 전도 대샤도 아니 요다데 총총 찬로 대자다 데데 곰토와이나 땅 알아서 냠는 집이 니와즈나면데 아니 데들라 베조 땅 토와이나 땅 아주 정위 지 가요로 만존다 판도 정도 요라 대자다 디 돈로 디샤네 대시고 대자다 알아서 예컨도 손다 찬나 아니 미셈지 감동 미완하 조바 요래 동동 동치 간다치가 되나데 편수 소바 요르다 잡시오 요르 대차다 뜻성마 동는지 편수 소바 튼다 소소시오들라 나르길기니 된데 맞지 된데 로아심지 탐질게 강하다 된는 종아래 심지 탐진데 같은 체보인 선을 진짜 맞지 아니 된데 정도 된데 그 냠는지 더와이나 달 리슴 탐치고 고네 같이도 삼준 이지고네 다 냠는지가 차도 그러죠 어떤 노르디나 탐치 보셔시나 노르디나 드리시기도 그래
In this paragraph, so far, what we read, if we take a close look, and we will see essentially it's talks about the further the extension. The conversation is the extension of the previous one we did in the previous occasion. That is how we should learn and train ourselves to transform all the adverse circumstances or undesirable conditions, any challenging circumstances or encounters, and transform it into our the part that to increasing our to enhance our spiritual realization. So, in other words, this is further talks about how you meditate, how you bring this very the subject of the meditative training into the actual meditation yourself. And of course, it's like the author point out the right way. So essentially, we have to apply all the our life experiences, and so apply the meditation immediately at every opportunity. So you need to train yourself and get yourself on the post and the post of training or the position of the meditation or practice in all the time. So speaking of how to meditate or practice, bring all the adverse circumstances into meditation, and essentially you need to know that there's two. It has a twofold. This training has twofold. One is about the preparation of at the mental level, and another is the practice or the actual practice itself. So the preparation one need to make at a mental level now prior to the actual practice is this. So you need to get to gather yourself a clear a picture, a clear understanding about the reasons and the benefits of your practice, the positive outcomes on all that you are set out, your desire, your aim to achieve what to do. So you need to focus on and that all the positive outcomes. Then when you come into the actual practice, once you made up your mind and you had a clear understanding about what you're going to do and the reason and that supports you and the benefits, then so you need to bring yourself forward into the actual engagement, this very understanding and into the actual life. That is, you began to dealing with all kinds of issues, matters, and anything that you need to react to or respond to. So while you are on the process of responding to, reacting to, or take any function to achieve your goal and or you're undertaking the project that you're going to achieve, then immediately you will be challenged by the undesirable circumstances or adverse the circumstances, and so this challenged, unfavorable conditions that arise, the challenges of you, essentially you have to know because it is a kind of it's brought up to you and it becomes your own reality, and you have to deal with it essentially because you are where you are, where you were born and who you are, and the place, the world or earth, and that in that very physical place you So because this the condition and the place where you are, a domain where you are, where it doesn't matter which places you go, the place which you know is your own home or is foreign land, and also people. So whether someone you know well or someone who is a stranger to you, and the job or the work and anything that you have to respond to, essentially you must know that all of them are imperfect. Right? In fact, you have to know that you are, in fact, is limited to a certain sort of very circumstances. That's your reality. So your very body is the production of condemned karma, and because of your very living reality is the result of contaminated the karma, and so both physically and mentally, you would you have to deal with all kinds of adverse or the challenges and setbacks. So your the very familiar experience for us is that we're always sort of subconsciously or consciously and seeking for something that's desirable and comfortable and nice and peaceful. But we often run into the circumstances where cause us immediately feel upset and feel challenged and frustrated. For example, that and you're probably doing nothing wrong, and you are completely innocent, but because the other person and the person next to you, or someone who just accidentally run into your presence and who may express some kind of very negative emotions and by saying something to you, or use such as bad words, negative terms, and so on and so forth. And he or she didn't say anything and verbally express explicitly and how he or she is angry about you or unhappy about you with you. And he or she might express that through the facial expression, or by kind of show you the attitude, and so from the negative attitude, and then through that way make you feel you are not appreciated, you are being set against you, against about it. So all these experiences and quite common, and we are familiar with, and we're always one way or another have to deal with it. So, of course, when we encounter in this kind of situation, and we're not happy, right? We feel, that especially when we feel that we are innocent, and or we don't know exactly what the cause, and then kind of have a justification to respond negatively. Or rightfully we can get a matter of that person too, because we didn't do anything wrong, and why he or she or they are happy. So this is a normal and ordinary people's attitude, or the way they respond to the adverse circumstances. However, here we are dealing this kind of things. We bring this situation into the conversation the Buddhist practice, in the Dharma Mahayana practice. So, as a Mahayana practitioner, and when we find ourselves in such a situation, and then we must immediately realize that this is the opportunity for our practice, for us to train ourselves, right? Meaning that we must immediately apply the clear understanding or the theories and the reasons that we have learned prior to this very moment. So we must realize that this is time for us to implementing and put it our actual knowledge and actual understanding or our use the power for our faith and our appreciation about the reasonings and understanding the clear moral ethical teachings and that we have learned before. So instead of responding negatively, feel angry, unhappy about it, we must say, oh, this person or he or she or they are unhappy. They did this to me, and so because of under the circumstances, and they are experiencing. They do so because of, first of all, they mentally they experience some kind of adversity. Or undesirable and the frustrations themselves as a response to their own unhappy, unpleasant fundamental feelings, and then now they're turned to such a way and against me. What a pity, and what a undesirable situation. So in your mind, you have to have this clear understanding of thoughts, and you needed to read or see the situation that person is suffering in such a way with the compassion and the compassionate attitude, such as, like, say, understand, oh, he or she is unhappy about me or against me, and angry about me is because he or she is now experiencing suffering, and he or she or they are in pain. And so at that time, so you needed to not only generate such a sincere and deep understanding, but immediately apply the ideas and of compassion, and then then show your compassion to them, and based on the clear understanding. So the meditation of that's the moment when you are pick up the clear understanding of the reasoning and the positive outcomes of your practice. Then you can have the strength to stay on the top of the compassion. And you will become a very compassionate yourself. So then, because of your compassion, and you are meditating on the compassion, you responded with compassion. So therefore, your own pleasant feeling and or frustrations were immediately suppressed, even kicked out from your mind with the power of the compassion. In other words, because of you, the moment when you become very compassionate and when you transform the state of compassion yourself, and your frustration, your unpleasant feelings will have no room and no chance to remain in your mental continuation. So this is a reality. And so then, when you become really compassionate and genuinely and feel the other, understand their pain and want to be helpful, you will be sincerely able to and express your apology. You will say sorry and you will apologize to them, and And so, and you will really be aware, your attitude, your expressions, and everything will be so compassionate. For that, because of that, and the other person, and then it will help them to overcome that abusive ill mental experience, the anger. So he or she or they will feel, calm, and they will feel and something that's sort of receiving and understanding. So they will become from the angry mad person. They will become calm down and then begin to experience the peace and the mental some kind of contentment in themselves. So then that person naturally will overcome their own and the sufferings and that caused by the anger or disappointment. So yes, so our practice has to be constantly, like the text is right at the beginning says, and apply the meditation and immediately at every opportunity. So we must, from time to time, think about all the other sentient beings, and even before and you run into any negative situation, you must think about how kind all sentient beings and the importance of the sentient being and the kindness that you owe to the sentient being, and think about everything that you all know you own and you have and you achieved, and all of them are depend on the related to or depend upon and the other sentient being. It's just like and when you was sick, right? When you're very ill and you got a medicine, right? You have the medical medication and in hands. So as a responsible patient, right? And what you do, of course, you will take the medicine, right? And as the doctor said, why you do so? Because you believe and you trust and positive outcomes that the medicine would bring to you, would produce. So similarly, and here, we needed to meditate on thinking of and reflect upon the marvelous outcomes of the compassion, the power, and the faith, and in compassion from time to time, all the time, and to prepare ourselves. So just like the patient will take medication and to overcome reach their the ultimate goal, that is regain their health. Similarly, so we need to take our practice as sincere as a sick person who rely on and the medicine and take the medication and on time and as prescribed by the physicians. So yeah, so we need to think about the kindness of our sentient being, and always think about how we can take the opportunity or create an opportunity to repair that kindness. So this is what this text says about this practice has twofold. One is a mental liberation, another is actual practice.
다 당고 등기 당는 자리데 다 지정 좀 바꿔 나데 세기 네坑조 시견 기위신 송기 머풍 상조 능기 견 리슴 나지 트비 왕기 로르기 머디와 멜 랑기 네속 칠라 꽃 랑기 대속 칠라 꽃 롱위치 칠상기기 다바 뉴머지르위 띵안 반드 타오 값스 특진기 체드비 가진 기 원상 신앙 기 팅 로버 좀 반드 타오 혼소는 놈 고트마니 사비 조임바 고르마청 냠등이와 기데 심어 판칠정 더타오 판순 소파 마칠 번종위 츠tum 넘버 지종위 소소비고니 베퍼샤오 데터마이나 yin gashigla chongsil pansun sopa jorsi ngargil tang japa changpa kiwi kenten ruwa mangshang lisim ki tang dingal chongsil ri chongwi tse shimchil soshang gilig ki kent songa mangwi tehtar mashawar kinna kinna kikyab dina dikyab chig yi shi song wanda sib.
When we rejoice happiness and prosperity and suffer no lack of food, clothing, dwelling, friends, and spiritual masters, but possess these external conditions in abundance, and when suffering no internal problems such as sudden discomfort caused by mental or physical sickness, we are able to put our faith and so on into practice. We should recognize that all these favorable conditions for following and uninterrupted great vehicle practice in these hard times when the teachings is degenerating or the fruits of merits accumulated in the past. Therefore, it is essential to endure to accumulate merits on the basis of pure ethics, so as to obtain such an uninterrupted prosperity in future lives. Those who cannot see the point of this due to their having obtained even a little wealth are, in many cases, governed by pride, arrogance, and disdain. When they encounter even the slightest mental or physical trouble, they become discouraged, despondent, and defeated. We are taught not to behave like this, but to be undisturbed whether we encounter happiness or suffering.
Gintani samu tang da songaro chetan jikten di khamde ke lewan zur phazum sopa tang kangal niga nyamdi yongo chata phazum sopa kare yor da segi name khambala sopa te de chi suzo de shi nang nangmi tang topo tang giwi shinya la sopa mangbo zu ched shi jeng de ki yong jin do jiro dan di dan nang gi ken ngaro da li chi lewan za li de la te ne chi ne ko chetan tang li de ka chi ka jin ji ni chama 치위고 로아지든 그 랑지기 등이 랑지기 지레데 이나 네커브랑 아주지 소라 잡고 등을 가면서 리데오요와 도요 티 사바마트 리데오요 바마저 셈게 땅라양 지 샴냥지 땅 다발라 소파텔리 셈 장보 소수기라 기요와 근데 정네 요거를 저 상지 좀 된데 로니 페니타다다 베티니마로 데리지기 디스 ngaranla tendepe 치냐야 근데 그 샴냥 주고면 텐데 고급지라고 얘기하시니 또 시켰다 넘긴 타죠. 무슨 소반 데리지 종아 아는 알아 리스미가 디쇼라 매바치토한 데리 고급 종한테 답에 하전 이호레 삼 지세랑 진네 가고검진이 가고검바동 소식도 그런가되게 예당 게임을 데리 종아 말에 데리지 종아데 무슨 소반 소소 네당 농초당 예당 정보당 계시니 또 데리가 고급 종한데 소소소는 그 소소비 제우지리 리게와서비 제우지리 대자다 단단하는 그 기원들 소비 제우 정보도 롱쇼비 고네 못니 가는 시스템라서 버텔리게 셈 정보도 yar기도 마음과 기와 심한남성 처럼탐치다 데리지 용 투바가 단단된 당지지 단주쯤리 마르시 돈고와데 편수 소바 데리지 용 투바가 못니 되게 신인들 전 담비실은 냠는지 성지지 살아야 그러면 고토와지 용 소지 섬데 데리지 못니 맞추지 고레스 또 맞지 가시 편수 쪽과 종스 지지 전 놀롱초로 천년달로 참고 장용을 썼더니 베테 ngarjil chenpochi mila thongchongchiya ane jakpa seta nga ta shoyin samatere ngarji seta nga shoyi cha nyamde maa mi thongchongchiya yungu ta chene ane chakpan reba zina ta soso guchi chenyan chungro tibi shoyi jo chini tila ngantak chiyo ta tsama ngarji yungsa shinro tero pasu sopa chigla mgini tela teni ane nga ta jan pasu sopa te ngarji chisa zi mangbo yore chetang kasi nor longcho ji chenpo ina nga shoyin sa kasi su yondi yon nga shoyin sa 같이 지금 농소요나 nga shoji samne jala tongchong chya de de ji gyo ma reso de jena and de kang ka chi la jipi nang jin nam chi la ma shimru ji chenbo tang ani longcho phosu so pa da yit dong je da bi longcho de 차정 안에 웹진 다만 교 차로 차 지어 거 맞다 베랑 지 이나 이 강을 텔리 때 이게 교 창을 수배 샘탕로 차니 다 춘이 샘탕로 차니 당ang hama tende shoyo da pete kyo chasong chingyo tende jiya ma mushitangni da rongsu choyala sopa tende yung gili ngi da jiga dan jomsa jiga yung sa mara sende tende sem dan yo mara tende ngaro sem jitangni gangali yongli cha zora de donglen ji tabuge dengan tela danglen ji tongge niga samba dambo gore ane kibu yongli sudo kibu tela longchobi guni te ngargila sopi ngond ma songa samba dongyong jiga de ka chembore ngazo na jiga balance ngozo 최근 통고래 어떤 뜻이고 또
So again, that's our basic the life circumstances is that we are conditioned to all kinds of situations. So we've been sort of framed in basically two different conditions, and the conditions is like an external condition and the internal condition. So since we are framed into such two conditions, and then both internally and externally, we will experience sort of opposite life experiences. And then that is, we probably would enjoy and appreciate ourselves, our life, and very well, very much, because by studying or think of all the prosperities, how prosperous we are, or the prosperity and the good and the things which we own, and what the possessions and the things that we are possessing, and such as like our physical well-being and material wealth, and our good names, and the nice environments, and very supportive and desirable friendship and human relationship, so and so on and so forth. We might feel so great about it. These are the kind of internally, when you the things and reflecting, by reflecting who you are and what you have, what you own, and or you possess, right? And there are quite a lot of times in our reflections and with respect to our life and how well we are, and in many cases, it would depend upon the quality of our reflections, and depend upon our body or our understanding about our physical conditions and of the physically where we are, how we are, and our various state of being, and the physical aspect of physically. Well, we have to remind ourselves from time to time, even in the state of being in the state of like a relatively perfect condition, such as free of illness, and strong and capable doing the things, and they make no trouble for us, and so on and so forth. But
It's
we have
11
to
o'clock.
immediately remind ourselves, even though very perfect, sort of desirable physical body give us such a sense of contentment and a joyful experience, but it itself is a changing, a decline momentarily. In other words, moment is it's a sort of fast moving towards the end of the end by the degeneration. So this degeneration and is the actual reality, is the reality ourselves. And so therefore we would not feel shocked or challenged when that our physical body brought us to such a moment of unpleasant or challenging experiences. So yes, so we ought to rejoice ourselves and happy about what we have physically, and at the same time also we need to rejoice ourselves mentally. That is, we do have a good mind and good intention, and we are basically a kind person. We are the person with appreciate the kindness and also compassionate. We have good heart, right? And we're doing good things, right? We are basically a decent person. So you need to reflect on that and feel rejoiced about it and be happy about it. And you have such a mentally in such a good, positive, supportive qualities. At the same time, also think about the Dharma practice that you engage in, right? So you are so fortunate that on top of all you have, right, you have good heart, and now you have this opportunity to expose yourself to and with the Dharma, and that the form of body you have is the body that is born with the 18 qualities, meaning that 8 freedom and 10 the desirable 8 freedom and 10 desirable and supportive conditions. So think about this, and so you are in the world with all kinds of favorable conditions and to make to progress and to make a further progress and for your well-being. And so rejoice in what you have, and both physically and mentally, which is important. But again, at the same time, you have to remind yourself from time to time, and you look at others, and and not everyone will be in the same possessing or in the same conditions like you do, meaning that physically they are kind of materialistic speaking, and they do possessing a certain health. They're doing well, and bodily they are also strong and in good condition, right? They have a certain good social reputations, and they're surrounded by others, and so they're doing all kinds of things that making them very happy. But not everyone who put it what they have materialistically and also mentally, and they are favored life conditions into the perspective. And very often they forgot what they have now in this very moment. They appreciate it so much. they fail to understand that this is actually the result of their positive the karma they have committed or they have is the result of the good deeds. It's not something like just randomly happen or coincidence. Those people who fail to rejoice what they have, both internally, externally, and this perspective, they would either think of nothing or take it for granted, and granted, or think as if something is caused from by nothing. Those people are very open and would take what their fortune, the good things, and their favorable life conditions into something that's negative, and then doing the negative thing. And very typically, and because they're young and they physically doing very well, and they are possessing and the fairly a good amount of wealth, and socially they have a good reputation and so on and so forth. They wouldn't take those things and to turn it to the resource and to make themselves feel superior, and then become arrogant, and then become very excessively and become and self-pride highly, and become very proud themselves, and they become arrogant, and then disdain, and so we have to know that this is something that's really happening. So, and here we needed to know the difference between the arrogance, pride, arrogance, and disdain. Arrogance, pride is something that best upon in the what you understand about who you are, what you have, and so then you excessively and give yourself some kind of credit and or the sense of the superior, and then so it's overly sort of see yourself, and that is not actually is not the case. But this is the pride. Arrogance is the kind of similar attitude. Basically, you feel yourself is superior, is the best, is the highest, or is someone who is extraordinary. But at the same time, you're looking down on others. So you sort of take a pity on others, and even make fun of others, and look at others as inferior, and and denial their rights, and so on and so forth. So that is the arrogance. So this is the key difference. So be proud, and you don't necessarily looking down on others. Think others are inferior, but be arrogant, you would have the attitude that is something that sort of turn to against others, denial the others. And then disdain is generally speaking is those who have a clearly sort of by seeing, and they are like academically or knowledge-wise, and when they feel recognized, and they are more, they are scholar, they are more trained, they learn more, and they know better, and they learn much, and so scholarly, or they've been trained and better or higher than others, and they would experience that kind of attitude, and he is called his end. And or others who are not necessarily academically and scholarly very successful, but they do have a lot of wealth that they accumulated a good amount of material wealth. And then those people very often would take by the money or the wealth that they accumulated, and then feel themselves superior and feel themselves is someone who is higher or better than others. And similarly, you could take your social class and the degrees and so on and so forth, and they use them as a resource or the reason, and then feel yourself superior and greater than others. So all this attitude essentially is spiritually speaking, is a failure. Is the obstacle, because like we talked about, as a Dharma practitioner, when we see or recognize, understood that we are doing well and better, so we should immediately think about the kindness of others, and then turn them into the rich resource and a great opportunity to increase in our spiritual understanding, spiritual path, and serve others. And but there are certain people who is just the examples we just talked about, and instead of recognizing and whatever they have is the production of their previous good deeds, and then become humble, right, and do more, and then try to serve others, they would take those whatever they have and then to sort of build up their self-identity excessively, and then become arrogant and proud themselves very much. So those people are who mistakenly and look at themselves and highly arrogant. They are the one, and they usually and can be easily feels so content and happy about it. But they are the one also very often, and they will be the one easily be defeated and feel frustrated, and even become hopeless and very much depressed. In worst case scenario, those who are so much proud of what they have, how much they've been accomplished, and who they are. When those things are no longer there, or anything that changed, their circumstances changed, and in the worst case scenario, even some of them could have committed suicide. Right? The reason for this is because they never really fully realize what they have is the outcome and of their good deeds, and what they have is actually related to others. So therefore, they are the ones cannot really handle and deal with the setbacks, the frustrations, and the losses. Our practice and the very meditation we need to practice is that we need to bring and all the things we have, all our experiences into the context and bring into the meditation. For example, when we feel so good about it, then we begin to practice rejoicement and become very appreciated or appreciative at all time. When we feel be challenged and ill and be challenged by others and deal with the disappointments, and then we immediately based upon the experiences of the pain, we needed to look at the pain from a perspective and the good reason, and then make our mind very stable and very firm and unchanged. So again, when we feel and we do have some upsets, setbacks, and up downs, and then we needed to balance, make ourselves fairly balanced, and in other words, try to bring ourselves in the state of equanimity. So through this way, and we would not only be able to appreciate ourselves and the things and possessions that we have, we also can transform those good conditions into the spiritual. At the same time, and we not only can have the courage and technique and method to deal with the frustrations and the setbacks, but we can transform those challenges, adverse conditions into the Dharma practice to make our mind and very stable and very in the state of equanimity. So now, do you have any questions for me?
Okay, my question is, and I wrote it down, as a mother or father, you are karmically connected to your children, and when they are experiencing difficulties, like you can bring that into your meditation, but since you're karmically connected to them and they don't practice Buddhism, how does that affect them?
Những chuyện thì ta nói phu vì ama in đó, any the phu để ta nói số số ta nên đi ta nói chuyện cái phần nhà mình chỉ là công gia tăng từ ta số số cái gì thứ ba thì nhà mình là journey any nhà mình chỉ để rồi in này any số số chế về cái phu từ thì đâu chỉ cái mình đâu nhà mình chỉ mình đâu đó mình đâu any thì đâu na 내가 내 간을 내가 내 간을 다시 때 보라.
그래, 다 다 순지 감동미와 나 저거로 대사 안에 갈리가고 그런 거에 파 콜라 지금 가지고 있는 영지 어떻게 로잡는 되는지나 요거 요 말에 그런 수준 도와주는 거 이런 그런 라 그런 거 지금 고급도 던지래 내리들이 다처럼 배는 어떤 거로 치 가르치는 치는 치동 제제 뭐지세도 그 소소랑 말해 치지기나 치 가르치는 대 소소랑 말해 네 치지기 저러다 배 낭바 코노도 낭배 칠라지 지금 요건도 삼마가 되는 삼문라요나 탑 키우지는 코노도 낭비 내당 데르시고 그러지 차정도 결혼을 시야디 요거 질 홀로지는 그 셈비 땅네 가진 라토에나 이 코노도 도바리 데 코노도 눈바요나 또 요거도 삼는 코노 장그래 된 눈바면은 어떻게 잡나 요거 말 결혼 실력 열근도 삼는 데 그 삼생 못되나 요거 말 그래서 나눠서 문템바티 칸이나 용걸 서로왔던 데 신이 건 거고 서로와서 서로 이거는 아주 지금 딱 결혼줄라서 봐 내득 서로왔었잖니 야 갈와지는 요라지 용걸 the she said 삼노당당 거니 그런데 약속도 저런데 약속 말이지 이 소바 용걸 소가서 제가 서로왔던 데 신이 셈바르데 셈데 서트 좀 받대 가르는데 조금은 소비지 자 서트 좀 벌써 되다니 참 용어 용자 때 용어가 탑시로 코로나 감당 미와라 든지니 코로나 강 덤바요 코로나 참점 미조 강은 태우고 강들이 세야가 탑름으로 데리들이 요르진다 수 파마인다 수 파마가 버글라 세비 땅네 야채 야탐바가 제와요래 제와요차 야나 버그 다 상마 진짜 망치와데 코로나 셈나 지마 코로나 파마 쳐서 지니다 초라데 시고로마도 당부 라버드 지니지겠다 하고 말 코로나 디파로 베데 지금 리그 롱고 자동 톰 셈그 삼로 자동 땅 맞도 딥가 바급기 고급 급대 지긴자 에네 코로나다 아주나 직등그 초라 냠냠 망보즈 사드 디나 사가다서 사가요 인자 용화 되면서 초라데 그때 지금 아주나 학사오를 찾아오자 때깔이 하고 요래 나다 감도 미워라 든지니 코로나 좀 발라 지지니 아니 다 당보 네 상상을 론다 제트네 텔라테네 그런 거 셈당 합산다 제 어때 지나 아니 좀 비파송 텔지 마시 동고에서 사라지와 태우고 동아도다 마토젠 칼레 호스다 당이 적당 소소소소 파쇼고 미기 감동 미war랐더니 같이 세규배 같이 몰지
Okay, here's the thing. Essentially, we have to admit to one reality, and that is sentient beings are essentially a different entity, and they are differ by not just physically, but they are differ primarily because of their mental predisposition. So we are differ, and sentient beings, each of us, and all of the sentient beings, everyone is differ from other. They are distinctively different. It's because of mainly because of their mental the mindset, mental predisposition, temperament, and their beliefs, and their life experiences, and their perceptions. So this is the reality. We must accept it, and this is the actual. This is the actuality. This is the truth. Okay. Now the question is, after you accept this reality, we are different. Everyone is different because mainly because of their mental predispositions and their beliefs and their life experiences. So how we should do, and we come to the spirituality and the spiritual practice. Right? My first advice is the first thing I would advise, or I come to my mind, is that by no means, and we should never force or insist our children and to accept the things and spiritually the values and the practices that we appreciate. Never force them or insist them to take in or to do the things which perfectly works for us. However, we must pay a close attention from time to time and try to take the opportunity, seeking for the opportunity, right? And then to help them. So before I talk about how to seeking the opportunity and take the advantage of the opportunity, and then share your value and let them appreciate what you are doing and how wonderful or how helpful, how beneficial they are. Let me tell you this. Our living environment, the cultural environment, the physical environment that we are in, essentially, is it gives everyone freedom and to pick up the religion, and then or do not pick up any religion. So we have this the culture, the environment in which we live is essentially is give the freedom to each individual, let them decide their own, and with respect to what kind of religion they're going to practice, or whether they do not practice religion, any religion at all. So this is our living environment, and then our children are in such an environment. So therefore, when you come into the situation there, you see your kids, your children does not, sort of taking care of themselves and spiritually and looking and for and in the long run, the benefits in the long run. So we have to know, and our first priority, first job, or our priority is how we can be skillfully, right? The skillful means. So we have to develop the skillful means, and then get ourselves prepared, ready, and then skillfully to help them. Which means we have to pay attention to find out what their aspirations are. So they do have their aspirations, their hopes, and their dreams, and they have their own visions about their future, their life, and so on and so forth. So if you fail to pay attention to understand their dreams and their some kind of the visions they have, and then you say, hey, take it, this is very good, and this is very nice, and then because they don't see it, and then they think that you are actually convert them. You are convert your religion and convert them into your religion. Then they will feel their freedom be taken and are not being respected. So then you will become the distribution will be the reality. So by the way, normally when people are arguing or disputing, it is mainly because of two reasons, or from two dimensions. One is the feeling. Whenever the things are involved with the feeling, sensitivity, and sensations, people will begin to become argumentative, or arguing, or quarreling. And other aspect that sets up us in the sort of the situation where we find ourselves disagree with each other, and the dispute is the perception. Well, unfortunately, the religion is the matter of the perception, right? And so when you make others feel no good, right, and then of course you will immediately disagree with each other, and then turn to against each other. That's kind of a sharp and straightforward thing. But in the case of a religion, and people do have their perception, right? They already have even they don't have show any interest in religion, but that's already kind of perception, because they appreciate it, or they have their understanding. They believe it. They understand what the religion is. So their perception is essentially regarding religion is not the same perception that you have. Your recognition or understanding is with respect of the spirituality that you are engaging, and is not how they look in. So therefore, it's due to the two different, even opposite perceptions with respect regarding to the same thing that's your spiritual practice, you could become arguing in each other, and then become find yourself in the situation of distribution. So therefore, we have to respect others' feeling, and that's one way to overcome the disagreement, argument. And secondly, when we come to the religion, and we have to know that how others are perceiving and their perceptions with respect to the religion that you are practicing. So again, in other words, So you have to know other people's mental predisposition, their temperament, their interests, their life experiences, and their visions and dreams, and their understanding about your religion. Right? Here's the technique, right? So how you skillfully, right, and they take an opportunity, and then take the advantage of the opportunity to show, help them the value and the importance and the benefits of the religion or the spirituality that that you follow or you practice. Typically, as a parent, and you will from time to time, because you pay close attention to their well-being, you will find that they are dealing with some challenges. They are unhappy, and they are in the middle of the very awkward position, and they feel very frustrated, stressed. So that is one of your chances you have. Right? When you find that they are frustrated, very stressed out, and then you can gently, sincerely, and as a mother, and go talk to them, say, and express your sincere understand, sincere care or love at the same time, and gently and skillfully offer help. Ask them, say, I don't know whether it's helpful or not, but I believe you should think this way. How about look at that way? Or I had the same situation, but I tried this spiritual advice, and it helped me out, and I have been, and it has been doing very well. So you can make suggestions in such a way, and based on the situations, give them good advice, or sharing your living experiences or with your own spiritual practice. That, I guess, would be helpful. And so, speaking of that, you have to know that as children, and they have they can be very stubborn. Right? They will not take your advice well, and they will not appreciate your suggestion. And the only time, and I believe they would become very appreciative, understand, and be grateful about your advice is only after they become parents themselves. Then they will realize, oh my gosh, and I did not follow, or I did not take the seed point where my mother used to say or try to share with me. Well, until then, before they become parents themselves, and it doesn't mean that we give up, but rather we have to pay close attention, like I said before, and take see the opportunity, and find the opportunity, and take advantage of the opportunities in terms of sharing, and have created a kind of opportunity to let them see and the beauty of your spiritual practice. And one of another opportunity I would say, except for the frustrations and difficult situations and they deal with, and you also can by practicing generosity, meaning that provide the material, the sources, such as like financially support them, and when they need it, at the time when they're facing challenges financially, and give them a help or any form of kind of material. Could send something like a present or a gift or whatever. But again, and when they're very open to you and your life and the path that you're choosing, and then you can take that opportunity and to share your spiritual the values of your spirituality, and show them what it is, and so I guess through this kind of contact way, and you can slowly and gradually and help them to appreciate it and what you are doing, and then maybe they will eventually they will also join in you in the same path.
Oh yeah. 야, 달라는
그거 아까 내가 좋아 주셨던 얘기 좀 말해주세요.
진짜
nga Josh din disre.
느리야.
Aya, this ga nga buke ke cheta tukang ni ban nga Josh kale kabul. Algunga thama so dingan su ni gom de ni ro chang samba de lam danna ni bigom de ni jamba la pen de ni ro ani algunga so ali chang su de warja tam Rangdon, Niger, Rangjin, Yobigi, Ni Mayomba, Ni Gomjeorwa, Somberwa. Kare. Oh, Dachomba Gilam, Di Mancha, Ni Susu, Maomba, Dunya Lebegi, Lampi Orwa. Janshi Sambagi. Gomjegi doshati misham angare doshati susu ngarja ma gomedwa inya dita dachamba ge chabar kare otanga injina jogro
Ya, это это палата Герго Серенгит. Я,
yeah, so my question is obviously like this is Bodhisattva like meditation, so we're trying to meditate to help other people, other sentient beings. And what Algunga had just said was how the opposite is like meditating for selfishness or like to boost one's own ego. But my question is like, there's the other way besides Bodhisattvas, which is Arhat, where people, want to free their own selves from samsara necessarily for other people. And I wanted to know, like, what is like the difference between that and then the opposite of Bodhisattva, which is the ego self-boosting one. If that made any sense.
조 rang zo ro kita da chomba ge la rang yor na da chombi ge la rang yor da nyang da chombi ge ki da den zbe da den yo mar da me ton de korang pang sa de nyomo pang sa nya ku de la shi de pa dan da ma sho mang bu yor shang zhi sen ba se ya de shang zhi sen ba la da chomba shang zhi sen ba yor su ji wo sen ba yor na ma na zo shang zhi sen ba se ya de dang bo sam lo dang de sam lo dang de ni yor甚至他们这个段的罗贝上级及广播头部是个因子，甚至把那人都是样到罗贝上级多的说，甚至他们自己段的罗贝，甚至他们这我们罗贝上级切的，俺我们罗贝上级个因子，上头你对你看样子，等把你认识过了，上至什么，你让当我就是就说让你进步嘛都，근데你让他就把罗那，你让他就把广播段的你进来，说让你他话的牛毛的他话他不是等我嘛都，人家判东西判什么样子的有的有的。베데 야차 야 탐바티 땅 레땅 트고요 말 상지 저지 셈바 야차 야 탐바티 셈진 탐지게 돈데 지기인 띠체등아 아니 상지 인세 때리 대자다 캬버때르지라 답변에 결혼 법자지 탈신구나 결혼 법자 탈신이 결혼 법자 등이 탈신이 법종띠 리오땡 아랑 거 뭐지들 기부 용한 거 쳇데 지기인 삼리 삼로도 아주 수교 멍쳐 때리지요로 때때데 마 결혼을 법자들 탈신이 깔리자면 탈신이 법자 탈신비 리오도 로아 샘진 탐질라 팬톡 쳇데 인의 소중적이나 어떤 상지세빌 차노 어떤데 지금 배전에 때려지라.
Okay, here's the difference. So now we deal with three kinds of individuals in terms of the Dharma practice. One individual is the ordinary person who are engaging or undertaking the Dharma practice or engaging in Dharma practice. Another is Arhat, and then the last is the Bodhisattva. Well, what are the key differences here? First of all, the ordinary person who take a Dharma practice is principally is for their own well-being. Right? And so they start with and try with the benefits of their own individual, and they start the Dharma by aim to achieve their individual person's goal or well-being, and then try to maintain with maintain on the path and for the same reason, and then try to achieve it. So that's the individual person, and they do not take a Dharma practice in the context of the highest the philosophical understanding about the individuality or the identity, the ultimate reality of the individual identity and the person. So they just sort of follow the try to do as much as they can and to achieve their earthly goal and with the driven by the sense of self. However, Bodhisattva, not Bodhisattva, the Arhat is, on the other hand, who is the one individual who engage in Dharma practice and maintain the path of Dharma practice is start from the very first, and they start their practices by recognize the misperception of self or person. Right? They aimed to uproot or eliminate that the grasping as self person, and both at the from on the level and the innate level. So that was why the Arhat, who try to eliminate and to denial the grasping the self person, but who is cut off, right? And the attachment to the self and the misperception of self of a person. And so then they free themselves from by cut off or eliminating, abandon the grasping the self of person, they become Arhat. They attend the nirvana and free from samsara. Of course, the ordinary person is still even they're doing well, but they're still in the bound to the samsara. And here comes the third, the Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva compared to Arhat is that they are the one from very beginning of their practice, they aimed to attain Buddhahood. Their highest spiritual goal is to become Buddha, and for the sake of benefits of all sentient beings. So Arhat do have some kind of compassion and also kindness for others, but they are the one only in aimed to free themselves by eliminating the grasping as self of person, misperception of self of the person and their identity, and then they sort of stopped at that point and temporarily and not pursuing the Buddhahood. The reason they do that is because they don't see they don't see the necessity of abandon the aspirations to knowledge or the obstructions and that to prevent you become omniscient. Engaging to eliminate that aspect of the spiritual the obstacle was the burdens. By contrast, Bodhisattva fully realized from the very beginning, and it is not sufficient just to eliminate the grasping the self of person, but to eliminate the obscurations of the self-attachment to the self of the person or the afflictive emotions, but they do have to free themselves from the obscurations to the knowledge or to the omniscience. So therefore, the Bodhisattva has this two, the bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, that are marked by two unique qualities. One is that to achieve the Buddhahood, right? And for the benefits of all sentient beings. And another is to free themselves from the samsara. So to free themselves from samsara, and the top of that, then aim to achieve Buddhahood for the benefits of all sentient beings. So that very mind of bodhicitta, whoever is developed and then cultivated that very mind, is the Bodhisattva. In other words, the Bodhisattva is someone who is 100% dedicated to the goal of two goals, the two purposes. The purpose of a free self from the samsara, and at the same time also to achieve the purpose of others, meaning to become a perfectly enlightened being, and for the sake of all sentient beings. So that's, I give you an example, is like this. And so in the case of Bodhisattva, so suppose you are the Bodhisattva at a college or at a school, and if you think, normally, put it this way, normally ordinary person whose purpose is to take the college, the courses in the college, attend the colleges, and then they only have one goal, that is they want to get a degree and get a better job and make money and enjoy their life. So that's the goal. That's just as simple as like that. And others, they take the college course and study. They try to themselves from the ignorance and try to become very knowledgeable and know much. But the Bodhisattva type of students who would take the course from the very beginning and say, I want to complete my college and get my degree and get myself graduated and the highest degree, and for the sake of all others, in order to serve others well, and of course from Buddhist point of view, is in order to serve all sentient beings. So if you are the student, a college student whose goal is to achieve the highest degree for the benefits of all sentient beings, then you are a Bodhisattva college student.
Oh yeah. Wonderful. That's all. Chúng tôi cảm thấy cái chỗ bé của tôi, nó tên là Jean Lot. Bà là một số người ta tên là rất là nằm thông minh. Rong de lo de zo ni ka de yang wa gang xie sa ba lo me ma ru ge dong zhong nan zhe ya wei wo bo da zhi ma son bi se zhe gan de ja de yang ji zhe wei ji zong da bi re ba gen zong lang ji zong ye ne zhe bi ya nam ye shi rang ge zhe zhen du bi lang ji xue zhao zi wei zhao wei da gui wei ye ji men bao san shi ya wei da ba ye rong zhen zhi da ba ren zhen zhou ge ma zhou cha cha nyam bar vi sho de nyang ji chen bo yo ru chu ba de sa war she pur se ji ya vi ma shong chen de la zhu shang chu lang ji ren bei tan du nan ji yu la hu de ya wen za ba ran de zhong ji zang zhe bi ten jian zhe xi ga jian se xi me dang me men ce re gan de ya wi ngo ba nan da lam dan re wer ma jer gang zi ta ban shou na ji zhu zi ren zhe na zuo ba de yi den nan yi dan de zhou xi zhao xi yang zuo shou gen xia bian ji Pardon, Savi Lama Rinpoche, Daso Nyengar Pame Tangji Na Kachen Chenpo Goni Jizong De Kasong Tuji Nge Zhe Zat So Je Semcho Rinpoche Marchi Wan Jijir Chi Jewa Nyamba Me Par Yang Kondi Kongde Pe Ur Sho Kangzhe Ravi Kurvi Shangam Only Jongwe Ni Chanji Zehong Tenzin Yanzo Yin Shepe Sindi Parde Tangir Chi Bao Chitran Chemba Tang Kundu Zong Tang De Jin De De Da Kunji Jis Da Lo Shir Gewa De Da Tam Che Rab De Ngo Ti Sun Shabi Yawa Tam Che Je Ngo Kang Lang Chuk De Ngo Ba Jin Giwi Zawa De Kunjang Zong Chu Shi Rab De Ngo Ri Je Pan De Jong Ne Tam Ba Tash Yo tam je kan kam zong li chen kan la der chen jong we ne sang je tam ba ta de ji ji chi ce re kan de ya wa zong ga we tong zhuo xin yin ne sen za be de ye we ga be la zong de ye ka chi za miang do bar ma je chi ba ni de na li ta ji xin bu yi nan ne ma li wa dong zhe shong wa me per shu an nam te dong dan ba ta song de zhuo zhu per shu han zhuo sen bo la yang ji sim dong de ye chi Ja, så tak skal det si. Så.